And welcome to the final Workers' Party rally for GE2025. So 我们阿育尼集选区、后港单选区和新加坡的朋友们，大家晚上好，欢迎来到我们的群众大会。So before we start with the rally, I would like to invite everyone to step forward to make sure there's enough space for people who are coming from behind. So 如果你们可以的话，前面还有位，请你们往前面移过来好不好？让后面的我们的朋友们也可以进来，因为还有很多人正在入场。Okay, so that I don't have to use command like sedia and after that ask you to dari kanan cepat jalan to move forward. You know I'm the Lao Ping, right? Okay, before we begin, there are a few things that I would like everyone to take note. Firstly, we have there are 8 portable toilets that's around the ground, which is at the grandstand there for your use. And then also, in case there's lightning, my script say the rally will be suspended. Are you all afraid of the lightning? Okay, anyway, there's a small building by the side. If there's really lightning, okay, this is real lightning, not the other one. So take shelter safely and orderly so that later we can continue. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker of the evening, the candidate for Aljunied GRC, Fadli Fauzi. 现在我们有请第一位演讲者，阿育尼集选区的候选人 Fadli。
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, saya di sini mahu ingatkan semua, undi anda adalah rahsia. Jangan takut bila berundi. Ramai orang bimbang tentang nombor siri pada kertas undi. Tapi saya berjanji pada anda, tiada siapa yang tahu bagaimana anda undi. Tujuan nombor siri adalah untuk memastikan orang tidak undi 2 kali. Jangan takut. Apabila anda menerima kertas undi anda, pegawai pilihan raya juga akan memanggil nama anda dan nombor siri. Jangan risau. Pegawai pilihan raya melakukan ini hanya supaya wakil dan semua parti yang bertanding boleh pastikan tiada pengundian berkali-kali. Jangan takut. Dan ingat, apabila anda mengundi di bilik pengundian, anda bersendirian. Hanya anda boleh melihat dan hanya anda tahu siapa yang anda undi. Bila waktu undi anda dikira, wakil kami akan ada di sana untuk pantau kirian. Kami akan pasti semuanya dilakukan dengan betul. Setelah undi anda dikira selesai, kertas undi anda disimpan semula dalam peti undi yang ditempel tutup dan kunci dalam peti besar di Mahkamah Agung. Ia tidak boleh dibuka semula, melainkan ada perintah mahkamah, dan ia tidak pernah berlaku dalam sejarah Singapura. Selepas 6 bulan, kertas undi akan dibakar di pusat pembakaran di Tuas. Wakil daripada semua parti yang bertanding akan menyaksikan proses tersebut. Kami akan berada di sana untuk memeriksa kotak itu dan mengesahkan ia tidak diusik. Jangan takut. Dan ingat, pada pilihan raya yang lalu, sampai 1 juta warga Singapura tidak mengundi PAP. 1 juta. Mengetahui siapa anda undi ialah mustahil. Laksana mencari jejak dalam air. Jadi, jangan takut. Undi anda rahsia. Dan ingatlah, biar putih tulang, jangan putih baju. My fellow Singaporeans, good evening. My name is Fadli. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the choice you will make in 2 days. 2 days until you decide who will represent you in Parliament. 2 days until you make that choice to shape the future of Singapore. What kind of choice will you make? Let me be fair and tell you first what the PAP is selling. The PAP is trying to sell you fear. Fear that without them, Singapore stands no chance in a hostile world. Fear that if you elect us, your estate will become slums. Fear that if there are more alternative voices, the government cannot do its job. Even fear that you will be called free riders. The PAP wants you to be afraid. Do you want to be afraid? But I see Singaporeans wanting something different. In their show of support to us, some loudly proclaim, some quietly whispered. I see them yearning for a politics of courage and hope. And I have seen courage. Courage that comes not from power or wealth or fame. My courage comes from the people behind me who have campaigned bravely. My friends who face difficult odds even before they begin, but they begin again anyway and see it through no matter what. And I am convinced that we as a country will need this kind of courage more than ever to face the future. The courage to keep fighting for Singapore, whatever troubles we face. The courage to have faith in ourselves and in our fellow citizens. The courage to face our fears which limit our potential. But courage is not something we can impart just by telling someone to be brave. Courage has to be shown. We have to all step up and lead by example. If the PAP stands for politics of fear, the Workers' Party stands for politics of hope. Not a blind hope, not a desperate hope, not a reckless hope. It is a careful hope born of experience, hard work, and resilience. It is the hope of building a nation where everyone can afford not just to get by, but to flourish. It is the hope that everyone belongs in this society, not just the wealthy. It is a hope for greater accountability and transparency in our government. The Workers' Party does not run on a politics of fear. But if there is any fear at all, then let it be that the fear that Singaporeans are being priced out of their own homeland. If there is fear, it is the fear that we are losing our way. Our leaders are too high in their ivory towers or too deep in their black and white bungalows. If there is fear, then we should be afraid of stagnation, of not changing as the world changes around us. But the Workers' Party does not run on a politics of fear. The Workers' Party stands for the hope that we do not yet know what Singaporeans are capable of. We stand for the hope that we can and we will do better. Think of new ideas. Push our nation forward. We stand for the hope of a truly democratic society based on justice and equality. In Singapore, to vote for the Workers' Party is an act of courage. To vote for the Workers' Party is an act of hope. And instead of fear, we raise to you our courage and our hopes. Remember this, your vote is secret. Last election, almost 1 million Singaporeans, 1 million courageously voted against the PAP. in hope of seeing genuine change. Do you think the government can monitor everyone? In times of global uncertainty, the Workers' Party will keep pushing the government in the right direction and work to establish Singapore's place in the new world order in the hope that we can rise today as we once did in much more difficult circumstances. So long as we have each other's back, we have nothing to fear. The areas under the Workers' Party have not turned into slums. I have lived in Aljunied all my life, and I know this is not true. The residents of Aljunied and Hougang have returned the Workers' Party to Parliament election after election. Would they have done so if their estates are slums? And when you vote the Workers' Party, you are not free riders. You are playing an important role in reminding the government that they still have to answer to the people of Singapore. So do not let them call you free riders. Before I end, I would like to salute our supporters who have been here with us through the rallies. You are the ones who have trudged through the mud in Sengkang. You are the ones who have cheered us in Tampines and Punggol. You are the ones who braved the rain in East Coast. And you are still here. You inspire us. The sky itself may tear with lightning. The heavens themselves may pour. But you will always stand with us, working for Singapore. So do not let your vote be governed with fear. Step up with us and vote with courage. Vote for hope. Vote for the Workers' Party.
Thanks, Fadli, for the very rousing speech. Finally, today I become the Daegu and the Feng Fei Fei already. My turn. Though, the next four speakers, they are called the Jiangnan 四大才子 in the Workers' Party. So, may I first invite the first one, who was on the live debate on CNA, Mr. Michael Chen Tang Guangwei.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? First of all, thank you to everyone for coming down despite the heavy downpour today. Aren't we all glad the skies turned blue for us? Now, before we begin, I have a very quick question for everybody here. How many of you guys are ready to vote for the Workers' Party on Saturday? Now, the next question is a little bit different, but I hope you guys will be kind. How many of you guys here are thinking of voting for the PAP? How many of you guys are still thinking of who you might vote for? Some. Well, if you have some patience with me, I want to focus this speech for a moment on not those who are Workers' Party loyalists, but on people who are actually thinking about this vote and unsure of how to tread through on Saturday. I want to speak to them, and I hope everyone gives me a little bit of patience to do so, because ultimately, this election is about all of us. It's about all of us coming together and having the same vision for where we want Singapore going. Will you allow me to do that? So the first thing I want to talk to this group about is one of the key reasons I keep hearing for why they may want to vote for the incumbent party. And the first argument I often hear is that, hey, I'm satisfied with the way things are. You've heard that, right? So let's start there. I know Singapore has come a long way. I think we all must be accepting and grateful of the journey that's taken us here. But I think the question that we should ask ourselves isn't whether we're satisfied. The question we should ask ourselves is whether we can imagine more for this country. Whether we can imagine better. Is that right? And can we imagine better? Now, in my past life, I worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. Big, dominant, powerful companies. And here's what I saw. They were excellent at what they did. They were really top of their game. But once they got there, what happened? Growth slowed, innovation dried up. They really stopped imagining boldly, and they started protecting what they had. They rewarded the status quo, not challenging, not innovating, not doing new things. Does it sound a little bit familiar to you? Now, sometimes I think of the PAP really as just a very big multinational company. They are a big ship. They move, sometimes very clumsily, but they move. But they're not agile, they're not nimble. They're not able to deal with the challenges that lay ahead or creative enough to find new ways to solve them. You know, last weekend, the PAP said that there's no such thing as groupthink within the PAP. That the PAP is really like the PAP of old. But let's be honest. We can see that the sky is blue, right? This is not the PAP of big, bold, forward-looking ideas. What have you gotten instead from the PAP? Let's go through that for a second. We have a government that will essentially pay, and this is true, by the way, $400,000 to an external agency to figure out how to rename Marina Bay, and they come back with a name that is Marina Bay. Exactly. This is the same government that because they could not get simply go right at their first try, we have to foot an additional $40 million while they figure it out. And you know, this is also the same government that, and I know that you know, the same that I do, that the only innovation that they've found to the cost of living crisis is what? Vouchers, right? That, I think, is the imagination of today's PAP. I don't think we see any of it, right? And so, what I think they need now more than anything else is just a little hammering away from the outside, right? Now, let me be clear. This really isn't about the individuals within the PAP. Because even brilliant people who are put in a box can't quite do their best work. And so how do we fix that? We fix that with competition, with new ideas, with keeping them on their toes. And that's why we need every single one of you to think about voting for the Workers' Party on Saturday. Is that right? Now, the second argument I often hear from the same group is that, hey, I'm kind of scared to lose what I have. I like my constituency. I like the way things are. My response is quite simple, and this is also to the voters of Tampines. You're not going to lose what you love. Your 5-year master plan is going to stay exactly where it is. Your parks, your upgrading, your programs, they'll remain. But by voting for us, what happens? You'll get us as your MPs, but you also get the PAP candidates that you love to become your grassroots advisors, right? You will still get the PA to run programs for you, right? So you'll get 2 Meet the People sessions, you'll get 2 National Day dinners, you'll get 2 Hari Raya dinners, you will have double of everything. So really, voting for the opposition is this buy one, get one free scenario, and Aljunied can tell you that's exactly how it works. And you know, no matter how this election goes for Tampines, what I know and I believe will be true is that every single vote cast for the Workers' Party will ensure that the PAP works harder for you over the next 5 years, no matter what. And to me, that's great because Tampines wins. The last argument I've heard is that, hey, we're not as good as the PAP team, or we like the PAP team. Well, let's talk about the team at Tampines, shall we, for a second? We have Dr. Ong, who is the ex-head of IMH, who's going to bring incredible heart to this team. We have Jimmy, who's an SME owner, who's born and bred in Tampines. We have Eileen, former diplomat and one of the best Chinese speakers that I know. We all saw her on the Chinese roundtable, right? Wasn't she amazing? And of course, we have Mr. Faisal, who I'm sure many in Aljunied are very familiar with, who has served you all for 15 years and who's ready now to come forward and serve the Tampines community. So I'm confident that this team will make Tampines incredibly proud. And so I want to end with the same thing I ended my last speech on, which is to ask everybody, if you are ready today to cast your vote for the Workers' Party on Saturday. Are you ready? And are you ready to tell your friends and family to cast their vote for the Workers' Party? Because I know and you know that we can only do this together if we all bring our friends together, and that's the only way we will make a change to Singapore. Thank you, everyone. Vote the Workers' Party, and I look forward to seeing you all for many, many more years.
Thank you, Michael. Before the next speaker comes on board, may I invite everyone to take a step forward. Because the gate is now closed, there are more people waiting to come in and they can't. Or if not, on my right, which is on your left, there is a tentage. Inside there are lights, there are fans. If you want to shift inside there, please do so that more people can move forward. So 请你们往前移或者往前走，因为外面还有很多人等着进来，谢谢。So for the next speaker, we would like to invite also Kenneth from Aljunied GRC. To give us a speech, Kenneth, please.
My fellow Singaporeans, good evening. My name is Kenneth Tiong. I'm running to be an MP in Aljunied GRC. There's a feeling in the air, a feeling of unease. when I talk, and with so many of you over the last few years, I feel your unease. It is the unease when the cost of food grows faster than our salaries. The unease when with car ownership out of reach, the cost of public transportation climbs as its reliability falls. The unease when we miss out again on a BTO exercise and see skyrocketing rents and HDB resale prices. It's unease about the job market. If we get retrenched, how easily can we find another job? Unease when we send out hundreds of resumes on LinkedIn and JobStreet without any response. Fearing the next restructuring, wondering if our skills will still be valued next year. Seeing our capable fresh grads struggling to find a job. This unease cuts across race, language, religion, or age. We further worry about the future of Singapore, which faces two clear challenges. First, the technology revolution. Is Singapore going to be a driver or a passenger? The risk is that we become content as fast adopters, consuming technology developed elsewhere rather than driving, developing, producing it ourselves. This pushes our own talent overseas to where the action and revolution feels more real. Second, a changing world order. Protectionism, trade wars, real wars. Navigating this requires foresight, ability, thoughtfulness, and a focus on strengthening our own capabilities. We often hear criticisms of Singaporeans taking the safe way out, not innovative enough. When I hear that, I think about how unfair it is to us. Let me ask you, how inclined are you to take risks if there is not much of a safety net if you fail? When you have to juggle high cost of living, mortgage payments, and childcare expenses. When the sandwich generation must do caregiving both for aging parents and growing children without family care leave or flexible childcare leave. All my life, I have believed in Singaporeans' ability to lead. It is the ethos of our society, hardworking, resourceful, ethical. Since independence, the PAP has said, Singapore has no resources except its people. We Singaporeans are exceptional, but we need people to believe in us and are prepared to support us to the hilt, to help pick us up, to walk again when we fall. Singapore needs such politicians. If elected, I will be such a politician. The first shift we need is a real safety net, a stronger foundation. The Workers' Party has consistently pushed for this foundation. Unemployment support, mandatory retrenchment benefits, a national minimum wage enforced by the state, independent unions to speak up fearlessly for your workplace rights, strong workplace fairness laws to protect all against discrimination and not just some. It's about dignity, security, and giving our people the breathing room to look beyond mere survival. It's about giving Singaporeans the bandwidth and stomach to take risks, to pursue ideas and dreams that drive us in our youth, to enable us to be who we can be rather than to settle. Once that foundation is built, it will support the reignition of our Singaporean economic engine, making Singapore into a technology and innovation leader. We need an economy that works for us, where we nurture our own dreams. I have spent all my working life in the private sector, in finance, consulting, and technology. I know the problems of our private sectors, and ITP wants to see us succeed. We must put the foundations in place for an innovation-driven economy. On innovation, I don't want to give you all motherhood statements. So let me be really specific about the sorts of questions I intend to pursue. Question 1. Since 1990, we have invested tens of billions in R&D. Yet after more than 30 years and immense spending, where are the deep tech success stories built directly on this R&D? Not one R&D has gone for $1 billion IPO. Not one R&D company has achieved major global scale commercial success. This kind of 30-year track record in R&D is just not good enough for the people of Singapore. What has gone wrong in translating our R&D policies into world-beating enterprise? I will pursue this question relentlessly. Question 2. Where are our domestic growth engines of today? I struggle to see them. It's not just about being a small country. Denmark has 5.9 million people, similar to Singapore. It has Lego, which many of us buy for our kids, as I do, and kidults. It has Novo Nordisk, makers of the obesity wonder drug Ozempic. What comparable giants built on foundational capabilities do we have? The lack of comparable giants isn't accidental. It reflects an ideology, an establishment ideology that is willing at the first sign of stormy waters to sell out strategic national assets built over decades to foreign players. Chartered Semiconductor in 2009, Neptune Orient Lines in 2015. And last year, they tried to sell out again NTUC Income to Allianz. But fortunately, many people in Singapore stood up and made their voices heard. Otherwise, I am sure this bad deal would have gone through. What are the right policies? Growing Singaporean champions or finding the highest foreign bidder for them? For me, what was so troubling about the attempt to sell NTUC Income was the message that nothing is sacred, that valuable domestic entities could be sold for short-term financial reasons, leaving less for future generations to build upon. That we have leaders who know the price of everything and the value of nothing. That's why I have little hope for Singapore's ability to create our own growth engines with the PAP calling all the shots. I have a different view. We must grow our own domestic enterprises. We must champion the primacy of our local enterprise. If Singaporeans are to lead globally, we need these instruments significantly rooted in our control. So I ask you to reject an ideology that seems too ready to sell out and instead embrace a philosophy focused on growing our own. So if elected, I will champion three things. First, making Singapore a leader in innovation, creating great jobs right here. Second, strengthening economic security and fairness for every Singaporean family. Third, fighting for strong family foundations, affordable public housing, the highest education standards for every child, and giving our Singaporean families, including lower income citizens with foreign spouses, the support they need for family formation. Allow me to say a few words in Mandarin. 大家好，我是张文杰，我是一名科技领域的工作者，也是2个小小孩的父亲。我理解许多新加坡人，特别是年轻人，对未来有许多担忧。我希望新加坡不仅能够让人安居乐业，更是个大家可以实现梦想、开创事业的家园。当选后，我将推动3大核心工作：第一，提升新加坡的创新力，为国人创造更高价值的本地工作；第二，确保所有国人的经济稳定和社会公平，让人民生活更有保障，这是国家进步的基础。第三，打造稳固的家庭后盾，包括负担得起的祖屋，让孩子享有最好的教育，支持国人成家立业，包括给予跨国婚姻家庭应当的援助。请支持工人党，让我们一起为国效劳。感谢大家。This year, 2025, marks the quarter mark of the 21st century. I humbly ask you, the people of Singapore, to lead. Lead us with your vote into a better age, with a more balanced political system. Vote the party building strong foundations for our shared future. The party always working for Singapore. Vote the Workers' Party.
Kenneth, thank you, Kenneth. So, before the next speaker comes on board, can I again get everyone to take a step forward? And if you may, move into the tent on my right so that more people can come into the venue. Thank you. Okay, the next speaker that will be joining us, Dr. Ong Ri Ping of Tampines GRC. 现在我们有请王瑞斌博士为我们演讲，谢谢。
My fellow Singaporeans and residents of Tampines GRC, a very good evening to you. I am Dr. Ong Lui Ping, a psychologist by training, a public servant by calling, and today I stand before you as the candidate for Workers' Party. I have spent my entire career helping people grow, helping families heal, helping young people thrive. I believe that when people are supported, they soar. And I believe Tampines can also soar into the clear blue sky. Residents of Tampines, you have built a strong community. One that is full of heart, full of resilience, full of pride. One that makes Faisal's melting heart syndrome spread to all of us. As a psychologist, I understand people. I listen before I act. I listen and I act. I solve problems with care and empathy. I focus on long-term solutions and not just quick fixes. That's what I want to bring to you, together with Faisal, Eileen, Jimmy, and Michael, as your future MPs and voices in Parliament. These are our 4 pleasures to make Tampines better together with you. 1. Building stronger communities. We will champion more inclusive spaces for our seniors, for our youth, for every resident. Let's make every block feels like home. 2. Responsive services. Let's make town management more responsive. Quicker updates, co-creating solutions, cleaner, greener spaces, because you deserve it. 3. Creating wellness that matters. Mental wellness is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Let's bring the kampong spirit into Tampines. Let's build neighborhoods where people feel safe, listened to, and cared for. 4. Being a listening leader. We don't believe in talking at people. We believe in listening to people. Your voice will shape how we serve. Your feedback will guide our actions. Make no doubts about this. We are not here to argue or attack. We are here to offer ideas, fresh thinking, balanced perspectives. That's what the Workers' Parties stand for. We don't just check the government, we help build this country. By bringing new voices into the conversation, voices like yours. Residents of Tampines, you deserve more than a vote. You deserve a voice. You deserve a seat at the parliamentary table. You deserve a future you help shape. And we are ready to work with you to build that future. A future where every child has a chance. A future where every senior feels safe and connected. And a future where every resident feels proud to call this place home. My fellow Singaporeans, Singapore has come far. Let's bring it further with kindness, with courage, with balance. Residents of Tampines, make your vote count. Vote for partnership. Vote for possibilities. Vote for the Workers' Party, who is always working for you, working for Tampines, and working for Singapore. Together with Faisal, Eileen, Jimmy, and Michael, we are ready to listen, serve, and fight for you. And building an inclusive, fair, happy, and a better Tampines and Singapore is what my team stands for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ong. Now, 江南四大才子 we come to the 江南四大才子之首了。This person 5 years back asked you not to give PAP a blank check. You did exactly that, Singapore. He is James. May I invite James on stage now? Thank you.
Aljunied and Alkam. Let me start. Thank you. Let me start by telling you a story about the woman who raised me as a child. My maternal grandmother was born between the First and Second World Wars. She was a teenager when the Japanese invaded our country, and a single mother with 11 children by the time we gained independence. Through much of her golden years, she had only known one ruling party, the PAP. Having grown up in a different era, she would not have understood why anyone, let alone her eldest grandchild, would ever wish to join politics, and especially the opposition. I imagine my conversation with her to explain my decision would be difficult, and more difficult given my 5-year-old Hokkien vocabulary. But for me, and perhaps for you, it will go like this. Ama, 我知你的时代的 PAP 是真好的，为国为民，这阵的 PAP 无相像了。我嘛爱国，我嘛爱国家争光，但是我无相信 PAP 会使做会到了。我参加工人党，是因为我爱用我的知识来建立一个国家美好的新加坡。我希望 你也是要了解，也是要接受。Now, as it turns out, in 2020, thanks to the good people of Sengkang, I did end up as a politician with the Workers' Party. And that road has not been easy. We are ridiculed and attacked, in Parliament and online. When things go wrong in our estates, we may be berated by residents, and justifiably so. Unlike the PAP, we have little career upside. We are not typically invited to boards of directors, nor are we part of advisory committees for national bodies. Invitations to speak may be mysteriously retracted. Even our work among the people we serve is tough. We can't gather at the community centers or participate in other PA-organized events in our wards, or preside over citizenship and award ceremonies for our own residents. To be clear, I do not share these experiences for sympathy or to stir anger. They are simply our reality, which we must accept if we wish to play the role as a loyal opposition to Singapore. Those who contest under the banner of the opposition do what we do, not because of the benefits associated with the job, but in spite of their absence. We do it not because we hate the PAP, but because we love our country. And we want to see it unfold in an altogether different way. And I believe we are needed. We are needed as a check and balance. The events of the past 5 years alone are reminders of how even the most well-meaning government can benefit from careful scrutiny and thoughtful inquiry. We saw a minister convicted for impropriety. We endured repeated breakdowns of the public transport system, traced together used for purposes that it was not intended for, an inadvertent release of our NRIC numbers, and the bungled sale of NTUC income to Allianz. Without an opposition presence in Parliament, far fewer inconvenient questions would have been asked. Fewer debates over course corrections and policy errors would have occurred, and mistakes made by the government would not have been held to account in the same way. We are needed for alternative ideas. Proposals that the Workers' Party has championed have made their way into policies over time. We were at the forefront of calling for financial support for unemployed workers and greater flexibility for how we realize better work-life balance. We have advocated for tudongs in the workplace, higher pay for national servicemen, and better protection for scam victims. These are now, in some form or another, after policy rebranding, they are reality. Now, some may criticize us for trying to claim credit, but those have been our long-standing positions, which we have documented in manifestos past and gone to prior polls with. Many have been repeatedly rejected by the government until they were not. But most importantly, regardless of who came up with these policy ideas, Singaporeans are now better off with them in place than without. And we are needed for a true diversity of voices. The policy ideas and positions we push for only emerge because of genuine representation, not only by race or religion or gender, but also by political affinity and philosophy. No modern democracy can survive and thrive when the worldviews of only one end of the political spectrum are captured. It is not only nice to have, but absolutely essential, because only truly different and alternative viewpoints will help us find better solutions, not just for the problems of yesterday, but for the challenges of tomorrow. The Workers' Party has been that voice for those who have otherwise been voiceless, neglected, and forgotten. We have stood for labor in an economy where the weight of capital is often dominant and taken for granted. We have pleaded for more attention to the plight of the poor and downtrodden in our society. And we have taken up the cause of small and marginalized groups because we believe in the fundamental rights of each and every Singaporean. This is what a united Singapore truly needs. We need a better balance in our politics. On May 3rd, let your voices ring throughout Singapore. Vote for those that truly speak up for you, rather than those that hide behind their party whip. Vote for the genuine hope, not begrudging acceptance of some broken system. Vote for a better tomorrow, not just for you, but for your children. Step up and vote for the party that works for you. Step up and vote for the Workers' Party. Kamsia Aukang, Kamsia Aljunid, Kamsia Sengkang, and Kamsia Singapore.
Thanks, James. The next speaker coming aboard, joining us for the first time in this election, she's now known as the Little GE Party in our team. And she's none other Eileen Chong Pei Shan, Jiang Pei Shan.
And Hougang, Workers' Party supporters and my fellow Singaporeans, and of course, residents of Tampines GRC. My name is Eileen, and tonight I want to reflect on what has been a roller coaster of a campaign period. What a journey it has been, and thank you, Tampines. As I look out and see the crowd gathered here this evening, I'm reminded of my favorite NDP song, The Road Ahead. But paiseh, I cannot sing it due to permit restrictions. Yeah, scared we cannot okong. But on a more serious note, the message in that song is what I want to talk about tonight. It is about the path that we have taken and what lies ahead. It's about your voice and voices of our friends. It's about our role and our duty to work hand in hand to find solutions that work for all of us. But how do we find these solutions? Since one of my favorite subjects in school was history, I say we start by looking at our past. Now, are you all familiar with the Singapore story? Yes. Our nation's progress came through hard work and difficult choices. Our first generation of leaders sometimes had fierce arguments due to differences in opinions. But they respected each other, and their purpose was always to reach the best decision for Singapore. And so they made bold choices. Choices that enable us to live the lives that we are living today. It is with this same spirit and tenacity that Workers' Party MPs speak in Parliament on behalf of Singaporeans. We call for more financial support for the involuntarily unemployed so that they are supported as they navigate the changing employment landscape. We champion flexible work arrangements for all and more shared parental leave, so we give families time to nurture those who matter the most. We urge the expansion of the public rental scheme and reduction of BTO waiting times, because we believe that every family deserves not just shelter, but a place to call home. Now, these are just some of the many examples of how, when good ideas find their way into policy, we all win. It is not about who says it first. It is about keeping the conversation going so we have thoughtful debates about the merits of these ideas, so they turn into meaningful action and effective solutions. As we go into the polls on the 3rd of May, I hope to leave you with a question. How can Singapore continue to improve? I say with hard work and difficult conversations. With honesty, not evasion. After all, we did it before and we'll do it again. Am I right? Like Fadli said, the road ahead will require courage. Courage to listen to different voices. Courage to vote for the Singapore that you want to see. Your vote is not just about the next 5 years. It is about the kind of Singapore that we want our children to grow up in. Together, we can build a Singapore that honors our past while boldly embracing the future. Vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore. Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. Speak to her more and you'll find out why she's called Chili Party soon. Okay, next, the next speaker will invite Mr. Gerald Giam, the candidate for Aljunied GRC. Yan Yan Song 先生，谢谢。
I'd like to wish all workers of Singapore a very happy Labor Day. Residents of Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang, 5 years ago you gave the Workers' Party the privilege to serve you. To all our dear residents, thank you for walking with us. Tonight, I would like to report on what we have achieved together and explain why we are ready to go further to serve in Punggol, Tampines, East Coast, Jalan Kayu, and Tampines Changkat, if you give us that chance. All the candidates for Aljunied and Hougang, Pritam Singh, Sylvia Lim, Dennis Tan, Fadli Fauzi, Kenneth Tiong, and myself have served as town councillors in Aljunied Hougang Town Council. Abdul Mohaimin, our candidate for Sengkang, is currently a senior property manager for projects and lifts in the town council. Unlike most PAP town councils, AHTC and Sengkang Town Council are directly managed by our own town councillors and staff, not managing agents. We are hands-on with real experience solving daily challenges of town management. Despite rising costs across the board, both town councils ended last term on solid financial footing. Both also received all green ratings in MND's latest town council management report. These results are not just numbers. They reflect the hard work and professionalism of our town council staff and the cooperation of residents who care deeply about our neighbourhoods. We have plans to upgrade linkways, playgrounds and lifts and make your town more livable for all. To voters outside Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang, come take a walk through our towns. Talk to your friends living here. You'll find that WP-run estates are clean, orderly and quietly well managed. When you vote for WP candidates, you are not just choosing town managers. You are electing voices who will speak up for you in Parliament without being bound by the government whip. What is the government whip? The government whip requires PAP MPs to vote with their party, even if they personally disagree. You may have heard of the PAP candidates say Aljunied has had 14 years without a PAP voice. But let's get real. Singaporeans already hear the PAP voice every day. The PAP held almost 90% of elected seats in the last term of parliament. Their ministers are featured daily in the news. The PAP voice is loud and ever present. What is missing is your voice. A voice that asks tough questions, that proposes alternatives, that speaks up for you, even when it's inconvenient for the government. That is the voice of the Workers' Party. That is the voice that we offer. In Parliament, we have spoken up on issues that matter to you. Cost of living, job security, housing affordability, healthcare, and caregiver support. We have called for stronger worker protections, greater transparency, and more accountability. And some of these efforts have eventually helped shape policy. Before I go on, let me address something that still weighs on some voters' minds: the secrecy of your vote. I want to assure you, your vote is secret. I have contested 4 general elections, and I followed the entire voting process end to end until the incineration of the ballot papers. At every stage, safeguards are in place to protect the secrecy of your vote. So when you go to the polling station on May the 3rd, vote with your heart. Vote with confidence, because no one will ever know how you voted. Let me address 3 more fallacies you may have heard during this campaign, so you can vote with greater clarity. Fallacy number 1: a stronger opposition will weaken the government. What is a weak government? A weak government is one that cannot pass laws without opposition support. That means winning fewer than half the seats in Parliament. Is that even possible in this election? In GE2020, the PAP won 83 out of 93 seats. WP won just 10. No other opposition party has won an elected seat after 2006. This time, WP is contesting just 26 seats. Even if we win them all, the PAP would still hold a supermajority with 71 seats, well above the 49 seats needed to form the government. Singapore will not end up with a weak or unstable government. Fallacy number 2: more opposition means more fighting in Parliament. We do not fight, shout, or name-call in Parliament. We debate with facts and logic. Yes, debates may last longer, but that's how ministers are held accountable and how policies are improved. Even with a stronger Workers' Party presence, the PAP will be able to pass any law or constitutional amendment. What a stronger Workers' Party gives you is better scrutiny and a more responsive government. Fallacy number 3: the opposition is only talk. WP has been running town councils for 34 years. For the past 5 years, we have cleaned and maintained all HDB estates in Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang. We run house visits, meet the people sessions, and events with our dedicated volunteers, many of whom are here tonight. We do all this without the $634 million budget that the People's Association has, which PAP MPs and defeated candidates can tap on. During the COVID-19 crisis, we stepped up to work with the government and kept our residents informed and supported. That is not just talk. But yes, we do talk. In Parliament, that is our job, and we have punched above our weight in numbers. In the last 5 years, our 8 WP MPs asked more than 2,300 parliamentary questions, debated 45 bills and motions, and and sought clarification on 34 ministerial statements, including the Ridout Road case, the Accra NRIC issue, and the income insurance bid from Allianz. This is what you get when you elect a serious, responsible opposition. Now we are ready to do more. We are fielding candidates who are qualified, grounded, and committed to serving you. Give them your trust, and they will serve with dedication and heart. If you have friends or family who are still undecided, share with them what you have seen, heard, or felt tonight. Forward our social media posts. Tell them why a vote for the Workers' Party is a vote for a more balanced parliament and a better Singapore. Let us build on what we have achieved in Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang and take the next step to send a clear message from Punggol, Tampines, East Coast, Jalan Kayu and Tampines Changkat that Singapore wants a parliament that listens and a rational, responsible and credible opposition. That's what the Workers' Party is ready to serve. On May the 3rd, let's make history together. Vote for the Workers' Party. Vote for the party that is working for Singapore.
Thanks, Gerald, for the very rousing speech. I think Gerald is right. We don't go into the parliament to fight with the PAP. I'm a soldier for the past 20 years. We will fight the aggressor, but in parliament, we will defend your rights. Now, next, we have a very special speaker. This called Teo Chiu Nang Bo. I hear Teo Chiu Yang Jiang Mai. Now may we invite the candidate for Sengkang GRC, Louis Chua. Thank you.
各位后港嘅乡民、江南党嘅支持者，大家望住好。特别咧，人做街坊嘅时候，老人家甲后生囝，嘛是会甲咱党帮地线嘅部队，伊人党帮嘅真惊人，去到正咩，较贵。 过去嘅5年，市政处起了36%，政府处咧就起了如惊人，5年起了50%，就是咱后生一代后摆怎么买厝呢？ PAP 答应政府处会互咱负担袂起，政府处。 为做土匪宝贵嘅补贴，但是你相信 PAP 政府呢，就代表你相信每个新加坡人会使用假嘅政治买厝，下摆老了会使用贵嘅价值买，但是你相信 PAP 呢，政府厝嘅价值就严重起。 咱新加坡人嘅收入嘛是着严严起，但是现实是咱拢总会知影，毋是每个人嘛是这样生。你睇旧年啦，旧年政府厝起了10%，咱请问这个大家，旧年恁这个几个人，规日工有起10%嘅继续？ 所以咧，PAP 政府打讲话，你人是觉得是真心，还是假意？ 看有一个大问题 ，BNP 政府也袂甲咱交代。BNP 他99年后，让政府处到起，政府处一分钱嘛袂得。这种50万还是80万，该政府处缴袂咧，一分钱嘛袂得。上些对无？所以呢，不论是房地产的问题、医疗保险的问题，还是生活成本的问题，互咱工人党伫国会为恁答话，为恁想办法。5月3号，为着咱新加坡人，为着咱的子孙，请投工人党一票，感谢大家。
感谢蔡 KV. For those who are behind, sorry, can you try to move in a little bit? Because there are still some more people waiting to come into the stadium to join us. Thank you very much. National Day. Okay. Next, this speaker, which I admire a lot, has given 15 years of his life to serving the residents in Arjuni GRC, Kaki Bukit. He is my model. He is now leading a team to contest in Tampines GRC. May I invite Mr. Faisal Mada on stage now. Thank you.
Good evening. Assalamualaikum. May peace be upon you, okay? 大家晚上好。Waalaikum. Fellow Singaporeans, thank you so much for attending WP rallies for the past 1 week, regardless of the erratic weather conditions. And tonight, the heaven has been very kind to us, give us a very cool night. Right? Okay, since the first day of campaigning until today, which is the last day, I've met several Tampines GRC voters who have yet to decide who to vote, as they need some clarity on a number of issues. So tonight, I'm going to address some of the issues which have been forwarded to me. Among these concerns are municipal matters and projects, 1. 2. Community or grassroots activities. And 3. As what Jared mentioned earlier, is about vote secrecy. Fellow Singaporeans, on municipal matters, me and my team members will ask what are our plans for Tampines Town, and secondly, what will happen to the future town plans that were shared by the incumbents. They ask, will it be not executed or will it be aborted? On the plan that has been shared by the incumbents, for me and my team members, the first thing that we need to do is to review, to see whether there's a need to implement the plans that have been shared. And if necessary, we may need to tweak or change. And if we deem everything is okay, we will proceed with the plans. Frankly, being a responsible political party at this point in time, we may or may not be able to implement the plan in terms of we have yet to look at the layout of the town as well as consult the residents of their needs. However, what I can assure the residents of Terminal GRC as well as the other constituents where WP is contesting is that we have the expertise and experiences of running town councils. Fellow Singaporeans, WP had managed Hougang for 34 years. Aljunied, how many years? 14 years. And Sengkang, how many years? 5 years. And many more good years to come. Personally, I've been an elected town councillor of AHTC for 14 years and had assumed the AHTC chairmanship for 3 years from 2018 to 2021. I would also like to share and highlight that both Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang Town Council did well in the Ministry of National Development MND Town Council Management Report, or in short known as TCMR, where we got green banding for all the categories for year 2024 as well as for the past few years, and this includes estate cleanliness and estate management. On the promised project by the incumbent, where some may belong to the government agencies such as LTA, NParks and HDB, there is no reason for not continuing with these projects, as these agencies are public agencies and their projects are to benefit the residents across Singapore, regardless of whether the town is under the management of whichever political parties. If elected, we will continue to work with the relevant government agencies to ensure the continuity in executing these projects that have been announced. Fellow Singaporeans, as mentioned earlier, grassroots or community programs and events is the other concern. Will the residents be affected? Recently, one ruling party candidate tried his best to explain and convince the public that 1 + 1 may not be equal to 2. 1 + 1 was the answer? But this particular PAP candidate mentioned that may not be 2. Okay. Okay, this was said in the context of if residents of a constituency voted in an opposition candidate, they may or may not be able to benefit the services of the losing ruling party candidate. I disagree with this claim. In this context, my mathematical calculation is, if a WP candidate is voted in as the MP for a constituency, the calculation instead will be 1 + 1 + 1, which equals to 3. Yes, 3. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain by citing the real example of how residents in an opposition ward benefited from 3 entities or parties serving them. In my Kati Bukit ward of Aljunied GRC, myself as the MP, even though with limited resources and funds, I will do my best, or I've done my best, or I did my best to bring in partners, be it NGOs, companies doing their CSR, VWOs, individuals, or private group donors to bless my residents with food rations, household items, and other needs. So this is one party, which is me, okay? I bring benefits to the residents of Kaki Bukit. The People Association in the form of Kaki Bukit Community Club
And the resident committees, or RCs, also organize programs and provide various assistance schemes for Kaki Bukit residents. So, two entities, me and PA, right, serving the residents of Kaki Bukit. 2. 1 plus 1 equal to? Okay, one more coming. And the third one, the Kaki Bukit PAP branch also renders assistance to the residents in the attempt to win over the hearts of Kaki Bukit residents, but they fail to win their hearts. Right? Because they've been there for 14 years. This is how fortunate residents who live in the Workers' Party held constituency. Everybody is competing. Workers' Party MP, PA and PAP are competing to serve the residents. Voted the Workers' Party to be their voices in Parliament, and at the same time, they are being served on the ground again by the WP, PAP and People's Association. So apart from us, we voted in to be the voice in Parliament, the Kaki Bukit residents are being served by WP, PAP and PA on the ground. So total, how many? Better or not? Those living in the PAP constituency, how many people are serving them? Huh? Well, have to be fair to them lah. Two. Okay, 2. Have to be fair. Okay, but for us is? Yes.
3, no enough. More.
Enough. Okay, apart from being served by 3 entities, as I mentioned just now, Kaki Bukit residents also enjoy double events for festive celebration. 2 Hari Raya events, 2 Christmas parties, 2 Chinese New Year dinners, 2 Deepavali events. Syok ah! Okay, you are most welcome. I won't be there lah for now. I'm moving to terminus very soon. And okay, due to this privilege and pampering, the alternate, especially the Kaki Bukit constituents, for the last 2 general elections, refused to repent. They refused to repent and continue to vote for the Workers' Party. Why do they need to repent? Because instead of getting 2, they got 3. Oseh liao lah. Oseh liao. So, pardon for my Mandarin. Okay, the third issue is about vote secrecy, which I believe earlier General has already explained and touched on, but I like to repeat because it's very important. Okay, so unfortunately there are still several Singaporeans who are still concerned about their vote is secret or not. What do you think? Is your vote secret? Is your vote secret? Okay, to those who still have such concerns, I'm here to assure you that your vote is indeed secret. No need to fear. Remove the fear from your heart. If you don't believe me, you can ask the residents of Hougang. 34 years under WP. Al-Unit, how many years? 14 years. Serangoon, how many years? Can ask them whether they ever been penalized for voting for the Workers' Party. No, right? Okay, for those who have yet to decide which political party to vote, I have one advice for you. My advice is, when you are about to put the cross on the ballot paper on 3rd May, close your eyes
and focus on your heart. Let your heart direct you to where to place the X. As the saying goes, our hearts never lie. Yes? Our hearts never lie, right? Yeah. Especially when one is sincere and genuine in wanting to achieve happiness, prosperity, and progress for our nation. Fellow Singaporeans, come 3rd May. Wait, I take out my pen. My pen. Okay, sorry, I don't have a pen. The pen in your hand, and also there's a chopper. Okay? It's mightier. It's mightier than the sword. Where you place the cross, you decide your fate, as well as the fate of your future generation. So whether you use the pen or the chalk, it's still mightier than the sword. Right? As you see, I'm sweating quite a lot, so I think I want to end my speech quite soon. If not, I'm gonna get dehydrated. Okay, finally, before I end my speech, I would like to give all of you one update. I would like to update on you what happened to me since last Saturday, 5 days ago, where I shared about the tingling sensation that I had in my chest area. There's an update, another good news. The good news is the heat of campaigning and the warmth from the hearts, shoulder patting, handshakes, and best wishes from thousands of Tampines GRC residents had not only melted my heart, but also my body fat. Indeed, I've lost about 4 to 5 kilograms. A good free weight loss program. I also believe that probably my cholesterol level also probably reduced significantly. Okay, my heartfelt thanks to you, all of the residents of Tampines GRC for turning me into a healthier person. I hope the Tampines GRC residents can keep me and my teammates healthier by voting us so that we can work harder and harder and harder together in serving you, residents of Tampines GRC, serving you for the next 5 years as your elected representatives. Vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore, and me and my team will work hard for Tampines GRC. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Faisal. I got to step up a bit because here the oil is flat on the platform. You know where all the 5 kg goes to, right? Yeah. So before I invite the next speaker on stage, I would like to invite all of you to give a round of applause to all these amazing people that's behind me, that's willing to sacrifice their life, their time, their family time, to stand for Singapore, please. Why I'm doing that is because the next person that will invite on stage to give a speech, she has been gathered between three children at home, being the chairman of the town council, and elected MP, but yet she has done a very good job over the past 5 years. She's none other than her team lead, candidate for Serangoon GRC.
Thank you. As we reach the end of our campaign, I have been reflecting on what is important. I have been thinking about the work we've done in Parliament, in the Town Council, and in the neighbourhood in Serangoon. The last 5 years have been an incredible journey, one in which every day was a learning experience, a chance to discover more about the country we call home. I have also been thinking about the people who, regardless of the outcome in the areas that the WP contests in, will become the government once more when the votes are counted on polling day on Saturday. And the truth is, people who disagree with us, they are not our enemies. People who disagree with us are also our neighbors, our friends, our family members. But most importantly, they are also our fellow Singaporeans. They too want Singapore to succeed. Yet, when push comes to shove, we must feel free to challenge the PAP's view of how Singapore moves forward beyond our 60th year. Because this is our story, and we must write it together with you, with our fellow Singaporeans. But even before Parliament was dissolved, we heard the narrative that the world is changing and how uncertainty means we need a strong government in place. But we Singaporeans, we do not forget that just 5 years ago, a global pandemic hit. Then, we were confined to our homes. Businesses were forced to scramble to deal with border closures and supply chain disruptions. We held our general elections then amidst that uncertainty. And Singaporeans made their voices clear at the ballot box. Singaporeans voted for a loyal, responsible opposition to be elected into Parliament to make sure that our voices were heard. The Workers' Party's report speaks for itself. Even with a pandemic raging, we stood up before the government to scrutinize their policies. Where the policies put before us move Singapore forward, we supported them. And where we saw room for change, where we believed we were moving in the wrong direction, we spoke out. So when the world changes, we must not fear. Every morning, we wake up to a new day with new challenges, yet we do not fear waking up. Because when we apply our strengths, when we work hard, we can overcome. And this is our promise to you, that when that next challenge comes, the Workers' Party will step up. If elected into Parliament again, we will not stay seated when there are tough questions to be asked. We will not remain sitting and vote with the PAP when we are moving in the wrong direction. But we could not have gotten this far with the volunteers that we have with us. This tireless team who lift us up when times are hard, who pitch in and give up their family lives and free time, and who stick with us through the crazy ups and downs, who stick with us even when there are no rewards for them beyond knowing that we together are the village who helps keep each other going. And for that, I would like everyone to join us in thanking our incredible team behind us. I would like to close on a more personal note. Through the last 9 days of the campaign, my children have asked so many questions about why my work is so busy now. They want to know what it is that I am working for. And even when I hug them tight before I leave the house, or I creep back into the room in the dark at night, afraid to wake them up, I whisper to them that I am doing this because I want to do my part to write our story of the Singapore they will inherit. Those that came before us and landed on these shores also face an uncertain future. Many of them, like my grandparents, came here seeking a better life, a better future for themselves and their children. They did not know what awaited them, the uncertainties that they would face. But my grandparents, like so many of our pioneers that paved the path before us, decided to be brave and write their story. They got on that rocky boat and journeyed off into the unknown. They came here to create a future for themselves, for their children. And while they probably did not think about it at that time, they came here to write a story for me. And we too, like the pioneers that came before us, we too can decide to write our story. Our story can be one where my colleagues and I in the Workers' Party will continue to make the PAP work harder for Singapore. It will be a story that even when the going gets tough, we will not sit behind our vouchers and not speak out. So come, 3rd of May, join us to write the next chapter of Singapore's story together. Come 3rd of May, let us write this story. It is our story. will write it with love. We will write it with hope. We will write it together, working for our Singapore. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Before I invite the speaker, may I just ask everyone to just move one step forward, just one step. Especially those who are behind. There are still a lot of people behind us waiting to come in. So just one step. 请你们往前试图走一步。谢谢，谢谢大家。The next speaker. I don't know how he got his energy. I almost see him in the estate, working the estate on a daily basis. This is one of the most hardworking men I've seen in the Workers' Party. Again, what's his name? You all know him. This is none other than the candidate for Hougang SMC, Mr. Dennis Tan.
Dear voters of Hougang SMC and fellow Singaporeans, a very good evening to all of you. This is Hougang, and Hougang welcomes all of you. I am Dennis Tan, the candidate for Hougang SMC, serving you in Hougang for the past 5 years. Let me start by speaking in Malay. Not very good, please bear with me. Para penduduk sekalian, ribuan terima kasih saya ucapkan ke atas sokongan anda selama ini. Sekiranya ada kekurangan saya dalam menjalankan tugas sebagai anggota parlimen anda, saya mohon maaf dari hujung rambut ke hujung kaki. Saya berjanji akan terus berbakti kepada anda seandainya saya dilantik sekali lagi. Terima kasih.
Melayu baik. Anda cakap Melayu.
Hougang khu là Xoang Minh. Cảm xạ tại tê. Tiếng hồn ni tại khó hoa cải. Y đi. Tiếng quý ni này. Có tổ Hougang. Có điều. Y minh cải xèo. Tiếng sĩ ta. Tiếng hoa quý cải bùng tuê. Cả GST đi cả ảnh hưởng. Đi thôi. GST thì chỉ 3%. Chỉ bói copy tên. Đi vào trời. Chẳng cho chỉ cả. Chọc xe mà nó chỉ 3%.
Một chỉ cái là.
GST thì nó bay. Thank you guys. CDC voucher, cả GST voucher, chọc xe cao mẹ. Hù cao bó. Còn đi mẹ. Quan hàng càng hàng tăng. Tổ khóc Huế lại bị ít rò. Quang tùy GST khi. Tăng xì. Quan hàng càng hàng tăng y hoang. Tiêu. Tạp hồi. Qua hệ 希望大家大家能当一票，当更多，当能当好双人。一个会。 I think there's you can see over there. Just pause for a while. We have time tonight. There we are. Please give space if we need to. Please give space. Wish our friend well. Còn nhé, có cho bộ hộ anh em cho áo căng. Can I continue? 亲爱的后港选民，大家好，小弟陈立峰是工人党在后港的候选人。今晚我先想和大家分享我们安于尼后港市政会在过去5年的一些成绩，以及未来5年的计划。和大家一样，过去5年市政会也面临了全面性的成本上升，但尽管面临这些挑战，市政会始终保持了良好的财务状况。在国家发展部公布的市政会管理报告，是我们安于尼后港市政会连续3年在管理和运营方面都获得了全绿色评级。在这里，我想向所有安于尼后港居民表示衷心的感激，感谢大家对市政的配合和关爱。展望未来，如果您再次给予我们服务的机会，我们还有更多的计划要落实。市政会计划新增或翻新17个有带走廊、24个上下车点，以及22个游乐场和健身角落。市政会还将更换130具电梯，或提升另外659具电梯。同时，我们也会继续增设无障碍通道、斜坡和楼梯扶手，让市政变得更安全、更便利。无论是对年轻家庭、乐龄人士或是残障人士来说，在日常生活上提供更大的便利。亲爱的后港选民，感谢大家这5年来给我的信任、支持与爱护。我能在后港为大家服务， 聆听你们的声音，我感到十分荣幸。你们的热情与反馈，也是我持续努力的最大动力。谢谢。过去5年，我们在后港区展开了许多翻新和提升工作，例如在后港2、3、5和7项的邻里翻新计划，增建不少有盖走廊、有盖上下车点、游乐场和健身角落。目前我们也在筹备为后港中央展开邻里翻新计划。接下来5年，我期待继续推动这些提新计划，让我们的居住环境更舒适、更美好。我们最近刚完成从大排365B 到334的有盖走廊，我们也希望下半年能开始扩建从前面704座现有的有盖走廊，直通到这间出席学院的外面的车站。各位后港选民，您手上的一票至关重要。我相信后港选民自1991年以来非常了解，有一个更平衡的国会能带来更好的政策，也更贴近人民的政府。我恳请我们亲爱的后港选民能继续支持工人党，让我们继续为您服务，为您效劳。Dear residents of Hougang, I would like to thank all of you, my dear Hougang residents, Hougang Nang, for the huge support you have given me over the past 5 years. It is indeed a great privilege and honor to serve and work alongside our Hougang residents. Many of you have been very kind to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. In the past 5 years, I have tried to be on the ground every day. I have tried. I have spent time talking to many of you in the coffee shop, in your void decks. I have taken time to do house visits in our HDB blocks and in our private estates immediately after the last general election. I have met and spoken to many of you, got to know many of you who cared to talk to me. Thank you. For our condo residents, I have tried to make myself available to all your condo management councils. If they need any advice or assistance, they can contact me. I am in touch with the management councils for the majority of the condos in Hougang and have visited many of the condos. For the remaining condos, if re-elected, I remain available to your management councils and residents. And I hope to visit you in your condo if your management allow me to. So ask your management. I would also like to thank our Hougang residents for your feedback to me every day. Many of you spoke to me in my daily walks around Hougang. You have called, WhatsApp, and emailed me. Your feedback and cooperation enable me and our town council team to work closely with you, our residents, to keep our estate clean and green. I'm very sorry for the times when our services may not live up to the satisfaction of some of you. But I believe there will always be room for improvement. I always tell my team in the town council, we must always learn from our experience, do our best, and continue to improve. Our residents, over the past 5 years, many of you have sent feedback to me on many important policy issues, such as cost of living, healthcare costs and subsidy, challenges during COVID, employment issues, housing issues, so on and so forth. Your feedback allow me to convey, allow me to carry your voice for these issues in Parliament. In fact, I have also had a chance to voice some of the municipal feedback from you in Parliament, such as improving bus service 112, lifts for overhead bridges, lift upgrading programs for flats without same floor access, something I'm not happy about, and your concerns with preserving the nice, lovely green spaces behind the Serangoon Park connector along Hougang Avenue 7. I have asked the government to try to preserve as much of the green spaces as possible, and I will continue to do so. Thank you very much for all your feedback. They are very important to me. It helps me in my role to represent you and carry your voice to Parliament. If re-elected, I will continue to press the government authorities for increase in the number of trips during off-peak hours for bus 112. Off-peak hours because our school children, when they finish school, that is considered non-off-peak for the bus services for LTA. Just for example. And I will continue to ask for additional service to fly Hougang Avenue 7. Dear residents, when I took over from Mr. Pang Ying Huat 5 years ago, our Hougang HDB estate was already busy with different upgrading programs. In the past 5 years, upgrading and improvement projects have continued non-stop. For example, neighborhood renewal programs or repainting and redecoration programs have been carried out in our HDB precincts at Hougang Avenue 2, 3, 5, and 7. There were also home improvement projects by HDB. Such projects will continue in other precincts in the next term. Many shelter drop-offs and walkways have been built along with playgrounds and fitness stations. We have carefully planned and built an extended shelter network stretching from Tampines Road to the junction of Hougang Avenue 7 and Avenue 8 opposite Nativity Church. The Town Council and I have also started with our consultant on the neighborhood renewal project for Hougang Central. I'm so excited with the plans which include shelter drop-off, new playgrounds, and shelter walkways. I hope to personally ensure and see to the plans coming to fruition for our dear Hougang Central residents. We will continue to draw on CIPC funding for further improvements. Recent projects included the newly opened walkway from Block 334 to Block 365B, Hougang Meadow, enabling our residents from the older and the newer part of the estate to visit both sites and use the amenities. There is also the extension of the covered walkway from block 704 over there to the bus stop along the main road, Upper Serangoon Road, outside this junior college. There is more work to be done, and I hope Hougang residents will give your vote to me to continue to serve you in Hougang. A few days ago, a resident reminded me that Hougang must remain the beacon of democracy in Singapore. Something I have said in the last general election. It is an important reminder, not just to Hougang, but to the rest of Singapore. Another young resident spoke to me during my house visits a few days ago, and he said that he'll continue to vote for the Workers' Party to keep the government on their toes, so that they will work harder for Singaporeans, for all of you, all of us. It's amazing that a resident reminds me of this. So I always do salute our Hougang residents. Indeed, since 1991, many Hougang residents understand more than anyone else in Singapore the need for alternative voice in Parliament. With the greatest respect to my opponent, one more PAP MP in Parliament will not make a difference. I and my fellow WP MPs, Workers' Party MPs, voted against the GST increase in 2022, which subsequently contributed to the spiraling cost of living increases in Singapore. What did the PAP MPs do? They supported the GST increase. Remember that, all of you, right, from Tampines, East Coast, from Punggol, from Jalan Kayu, from all over Singapore. Remember that when you cast your vote on 3rd of May. Think about that. Last few years, all the cost of living increases. Think about that. They all voted for the GST increase, PAP. Fellow Singaporeans, at such a time like this, with global uncertainties and challenges, it is even more important for us to have more heads with different ideas in Parliament, rather than having one team speaking from the same script, singing the same song. Workers' Party MPs were outnumbered 1:9 in the last Parliament. But to better scrutinize the government, we need more Workers' Party MPs, not fewer. We can't afford. There's not enough of us. We can only do so much. We need more Workers' Party MPs in Parliament to scrutinize the government. The Workers' Party and I are privileged to have served Hougang residents since 1991. And I hope that Hougang residents will continue to give the Workers' Party strong support for us to continue working for you and speaking out for you for the next 5 years. So on May the 3rd, vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore.
Now, I'm starting to enjoy my job by issuing all the yellow card and red card. The next speaker, I just use 4 words. to describe her. 女中豪杰. May I invite the candidate for Aljunied GRC, Miss Sylvia Lim.
Good evening, dear residents of Sengkang, Punggol, Jalan Kayu, East Coast, Tampines, Changkat, and last but not least, Hougang and Aljunied. Thank you for coming to our final rally of this campaign. Before I make my speech, I would like to say a big thank you to a group of people that have ensured that these elections and rallies proceed in an orderly manner. Our men and women in blue. They probably haven't had much sleep and been on their feet for long hours. Thank you very much. You know, in the 1990s, I was a woman in blue. And today, 30 years later, I'm still a woman in blue. Please let me address our Aljunied voters in Chinese before continuing in English. 亲爱的阿育尼集选区的选民，感谢你们在过去14年给予我们的信任和支持，让我们有机会在国会中成为您的代议士。为你们提问尖锐和敏感的切身问题。阿育尼后港市政理事会已经从风雨中走出困境，也得到国家发展部的最高评价。这些年，我们也改进了邻里的许多设施。在未来的5年，我们会继续改善您的居家生活环境。我们过去如有做得不足的地方，请大家多多包容和见谅。我们会不断改进，做得更好。感谢大家过去10年中和我们分享你们在生活中的酸甜苦辣，让我们受益良多。今年我公布了婚讯后，你们送上亲手特制的贺卡和满满的祝福，为我带来阵阵的暖意。再次谢谢你们的关爱。长江后浪推前浪，工人党不断引进新人，让团队更加壮大。这次的大选，阿育尼集选区就有2个新人，他们是45岁的法利，他是一名律师。 另一位是36岁的张文杰，从事人工智能行业。工人党在国会中会坚守岗位，为国效劳。5月3号，恳请大家投工人党一票，让我们共同建设一个更民主的新加坡，迈向世界第一国会。谢谢大家。Dear voters of Aljunied GRC, I began this journey with you more than 20 years ago, visiting your homes to get to know you better. When my team first contested in Aljunied 19 years ago in 2006, we did not win. But you gave us nearly 44% of the votes, enough for me to get into Parliament as a non-constituency MP. In Parliament, I worked hard with Mr. Lau Tia Kiang to represent your concerns. Then, 5 years later, in 2011, you took a leap of faith with the Workers' Party and sent a whole GRC of 5 more MPs into Parliament. In this campaign, the PAP leaders have been telling voters that if they lose a few ministers, Singapore will be weakened. But Aljunied voters have heard all this before. Back in 2011, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew compared the PAP Aljunied team with the Workers' Party team. On the PAP side, there was George Yeo, Lim Hui Hua, Zainal Abidin, Ong Yi Kang, and Cynthia Phua. And on the Workers' Party team, we had Mr. Lau Tia Kiang, myself, Chen Shou Mao, Faisal Manap, and Pritam Singh. Mr. Lee talked up the PAP team as too important to lose 2 ministers, a future Speaker of Parliament, a future minister, and the best grassroots leader. Whereas, he said, the Workers' Party team only had 1 MP, 1 NCMP, a celebrity, and 2 unknowns. He even warned Aljunied voters that if they voted in the WP team, they would have the next 5 years to repent. But since the PAP lost Aljunied, has Singapore been weakened? Life goes on. And guess what? One of the Workers' Party's unknowns is now the leader of the opposition. There is a serious message here. You may only have 1 vote, but together, our votes can chart the future. Over the years, we have done our best not to let you down. We have worked hard in Parliament. In the last 5 years, Workers' Party MPs in Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang together filed more than 2,700 parliamentary questions. We filed motions and adjournment motions on many topics, including reducing the cost of living, housing needs and prices, health care, fairer treatment of scam victims, women empowerment, sporting success, and more. On the estate side, the Aljunied Hougang Town Council has been doing well. We have made improvements to facilities, added covered linkways and drop-off points, and refreshed the estate. We have sent to our HDB residents our 5-year plans. We will continue to improve. On a personal level, we in the Aljunied team have gotten to know our residents over the past 14 years. Just as we care for you, you have also shown your care for us. Recently, when you heard about my marriage, you made greeting cards and mementos to wish my husband and I well. And on a lighter note, some of you even offered me the traditional Chinese blessing, 早生贵子, which means, may you have a baby soon. As the Koreans would say, 사랑해. The Workers' Party asks you to vote with hope, not fear. And in line with hope, we are bringing in new blood into the Aljunied team. First, we have Fadli Fauzi, a 45-year-old lawyer and father of a toddler. And we also have Kenneth Tiong, a 36-year-old father of 2, with an intense interest in technology and AI. We must renew for the future of the Workers' Party and for Singapore. Of course, I shall miss my dear adik Faisal Manab. But this election, he has an important mission to lead in the neighboring Tampines GRC. So tonight, let's make a promise, not just to each other, but to Singapore, that come Saturday, we will vote not out of fear, but with conviction and hope for the future that we deserve. That years from now, we can proudly say that we stood up and worked for Singapore as we pass the baton to the next generation. My friends, may we wake up on Sunday morning to clear blue skies. Votes for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore.
Now, the next speaker don't need much introduction from me. He's the man himself, Mr. Pritam Singh.
Thank you. Thank you. There's no better feeling than being here in Hougang. Good evening. my fellow Singaporeans, tonight I will address a few points raised by the PAP during this election campaign. First, the PAP makes the argument that a vote for the opposition weakens the PAP government when it negotiates internationally. Second, the PAP says more opposition MPs will make life difficult for Lawrence Wong and the PAP government in managing Singapore. Number three, the PAP says that in a time of crisis, if you don't elect ministers like Mr. Gan Kim Yong and all the current and potential ministers, we are in big trouble. Number four, Lawrence Wong says the opposition is here to stay. Number five, he tells voters not to give the opposition a free pass. Now, let me do a reality check on each of these points. These reality checks may give you a good reason to vote for the Workers' Party come 3rd of May. Let me address the first point. Lawrence Wong asks for a strong mandate. He says a weakened mandate would make it harder for the PAP to represent Singaporeans' interests internationally. His foreign counterparts will size up the PAP ministers when they negotiate, and only if the PAP has a clear mandate can they represent Singapore confidently. By strong mandate, the PAP means at least 90% of the fully elected seats, but preferably 100%. So here is reality check number one. Even if every Workers' Party candidate enters Parliament, and that is a very big if, the PAP will still have 71 out of 97 seats, and that is 73%. Does the PAP really believe that foreign leaders of democratic countries who meet Prime Minister Lawrence Wong will think, oh, the Singapore Prime Minister only won 73% of the seats. So lousy. He must come from a lousy school. Do you actually think the foreign leaders will say this? Only the PAP says such things and think like this. Let me tell you, foreign leaders of democracies would give their right arm and right leg for 73% of the seats in Parliament. They would say 73% is a fantastic result. But they would also say that politics in Singapore is stable, and more than being an advanced economy, Singapore is finally beginning to look like the participatory democracy promised decades ago by then Prime Minister Mr. Goh Chok Tong. My second point is on PM Lawrence Wong saying that voting in more opposition weakens the PAP in governing Singapore. So, reality check number two. Once the PAP forms government, it can pursue its full agenda. Winning a majority of the seats would allow the PAP to pass all the bills that it wants. And just 65 seats will give the PAP a two-third majority. With that, the PAP will be able to amend almost any part of the Constitution, even if the opposition disagrees. They have been doing that all these years. For example, in creating the reserve presidency. And the reality is this: the PAP will win 65 or more seats easily. How do I know this? I don't have a crystal ball, but my first degree from NUS was in history. So let's look at history. The GRC system started in 1988. It took 18 years for the PAP to lose one GRC in 2011. It took another 2 elections to lose one more in 2020. It is extremely difficult for any opposition party to win a GRC or an SMC. That's the fact. And even if the Workers' Party wins a few more seats, the PAP government will not be weakened. Let's look at history again. Before 1980, there were fewer than 70 PAP MPs in Parliament. Yet, the PAP had more than enough people from which to find outstanding 1G ministers. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew had far fewer people to choose from than PM Lawrence Wong has. If the PAP wins 71 out of 97 seats, is PM Wong saying that he cannot find enough good people to fill his cabinet? Is he telling us that the caliber of his PAP MPs is very low? And let me add one more important reason why having more WP MPs will not weaken the government. We do not oppose for the sake of opposing. If the laws are in Singapore's interest, we will vote with the government as we have done so. Everyone here knows the Workers' Party MPs are rational and responsible. So I call on the voters to elect all the WP candidates. Even if all our candidates are elected, the PAP will still have more than 2/3 of the seats. Vote for us and we will work for you in your estate and in Parliament. Now, during this campaign, I believe 2 former army generals, one in East Coast GRC and one in Tampines, alluded to the point that the opposition just talks and talks and talks. I was quite surprised when I heard this, and why do I say so? Now, around this time last year, before Mr. Lee Hsien Loong handed over power to Mr. Lawrence Wong, he gave an extended interview to the mainstream media, various mainstream media outlets. In his exchange with Lian He Zhao Bao, there was a segment that contrasted talk and action. Zhao Bao asked Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, why do you say that communication skills are so important? In the past or all along, the PAP would say less and do more. But now, you mention the content of speeches, how to express it well. Why are they important? Mr. Lee Hsien Loong replied, we used to say less and do more. But the former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, his speeches were very effective. Through his speeches, he mobilized the entire country and led it on many paths. So it is not possible to say that speeches are unimportant. My fellow Singaporeans, it is in the nature of a parliamentary democracy that all of us do not just have to attend Parliament faithfully, we have to speak up for Singaporeans. The opposition makes its contribution by checking the government of the day, the same thing Mr. Lee Kuan Yew did when he was in opposition after 1955. In fact, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew would even walk out of Parliament along with his MPs to make a political point. As an opposition MP, he could not be a man of action in terms of executing policies at that point because his main job was to be the loyal opposition. But in Parliament, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew talked and talked and talked. So I would ask the PAP candidates, have a care for our political system. It is designed to represent all Singaporeans. And the Workers' Party has to step up for them. And 2 days ago, Mr. Chan Chun Sing said that this election campaign should be about focusing on the core issues. Unlike the PAP, the Workers' Party has put out a manifesto with concrete proposals, actionable items for Singaporeans to understand our general election agenda, not mere motherhood statements, but for the whole campaign. On housing, for example, no PAP candidate wanted to talk substantively during the rallies about lease decay. No PAP candidates wanted to engage the issue of how land for public housing is valued with a view to explore the prospects of housing affordability. No PAP candidate wanted to substantively engage the issue of why GST had to be hiked during a global inflation storm and why it could not be delayed. Some of these were directly brought up during our rally speeches. Our manifesto and our solutions for Singapore were shared with the public well before nomination day. So why didn't the PAP engage on these core issues? Beyond advocating for a fairer and more just and thoughtful policy in Parliament, we have encapsulated our vision in our manifesto with concrete ideas that envision the type of Singapore we want for our people. So far from weakening Singapore, the Workers' Party will bring the voices of Singaporeans into government through Parliament. Now, my third point. Lawrence Wong says that in times of severe crisis, if you don't elect ministers like Gan Kim Yong and all his current and potential ministers, we are in big trouble. He says we risk our lives and future if we vote for the Workers' Party. Reality check number 3. It was Prime Minister Wong himself who moved Gan Kim Yong out of Choa Chu Kang when he had been there for 14 years. DPM Gan is new to the ground in Punggol. Prime Minister Wong said that the move was for leadership distribution. This does not make sense because Singapore is so small. We are not America, China, or even Malaysia. In 2020, Ng Chee Meng was moved from Pasir Ris Punggol to Sengkang GRC and he lost. To move a minister who you claim to be really important at election time is a risk. And it can be deemed reckless when you have other relatively safer constituencies to put him in. And he knows exactly what I mean. So if DPM Gan is indispensable, then, if I may use PM Wong's own phrase, moving him was cavalier and irresponsible. Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong says, or he said at the rally, that voters should not play dangerous games and vote tactically. But it looks like Prime Minister Wong is the one playing dangerous tactical games. From all of this, I can only draw 2 reasonable conclusions. First, moving DPM Gan to Punggol was a tactical move to stop the Workers' Party from winning the GRC. I think this is obvious to everyone. Second, I believe that Lawrence Wong would not have risked Gan Kim Yong against the Workers' Party if he is indispensable. PM Wong must have been confident that he has enough talent even without DPM Gan. There is no other reasonable conclusion. Now, if he is not confident that he has enough ministers, would he have allowed 4 ministers to retire? Would PM Wong have let Teo Chee Hian, Heng Swee Keat, Ng Eng Heng, Maliki Osman to step down if he was short of talent? 3 of these ministers are not just heavyweights, they are super heavyweights. If PM Wong truly believed there was a risk to Singapore's future, he would have asked 1 or more of them to stay on, just like PM Lee Hsien Loong or then PM Lee Hsien Loong remained as Prime Minister during COVID. But PM Wong let them go. These 4 ministers who retired are years younger than Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong, who remains in cabinet. Without a single vote being cast, it was not the voters or the opposition parties, but Prime Minister Wong who removed 4 ministers. But now he says to the voters, don't vote out serving ministers. Voters and the media should ask him, is DPM Gan truly indispensable? If so, why did you risk him and risk our future? Why didn't you keep him in Choa Chu Kang? Now, in my opinion, the real reason must be this. PM Wong knows that moving DPM Gan was not risking Singapore's future. DPM Gan is not indispensable. And that is the simple truth. No one is indispensable. If DPM Gan is not re-elected, Singaporeans need not feel guilty. After all, you didn't put him at risk, the PAP did. And even if Gan Kim Yong is not elected, he can still serve Singapore. For example, just like previous ministers, he could be appointed chairman of a government-linked company. And if Mr. Gan has a good relationship with the US trade negotiator, there is no reason why he cannot continue to be Singapore's official negotiator or special envoy. To Americans and most countries in the world, winning and losing elections is normal. They are used to people losing elections and then representing the United States. Just look at Senator John Kerry or then President Jimmy Carter. Regardless of what the PAP would have you believe, the Americans will not care if Mr. Gan lost the election and is no longer DPM. The Americans and many other countries follow professional practice and they deal with the person who is officially appointed by the government. They will happily continue to deal with ex-DPM Gan. Voters of Punggol GRC, as our candidate in Punggol GRC, Alexis Dang Pei Yen, said in her rally speech, don't fall for the same trick that was played on East Coast GRC in GE2020. And to the voters in Tampines and East Coast, just like DPM Gan can serve elsewhere, the same goes for Minister Masagos and Edwin Tong. Mr. Masagos has worked in senior positions in Singtel. He could easily become chairman of a GLC or an ambassador like ex-minister Lui Tak Yew. Mr. Edwin Tong is a senior counsel. He could lead the Singapore Institute of Legal Education, or he can join the Football Association of Singapore to fulfill his dream of bringing Singapore to the FIFA World Cup in 2034. My fourth point. My fourth point concerns Lawrence Wong saying that the opposition is here to stay. He is trying to assure voters that the opposition will be elected. This is reality check number 4. The PAP wants to win all the parliamentary seats. Teo Chee Hean personally walked the ground with the PAP Aljunied team, and he said, and I quote, "We don't give up any constituency," unquote. Make no mistake, the PAP never gives up. Voters of Aljunied, Hougang, Sengkang, and all the other constituencies where the Workers' Party is contesting, we do not take your vote for granted. We must fight for every single vote. Every single vote is precious for the Workers' Party. To the voters in Tampines, Changkat, East Coast, Punggol, Jalan Kayu, please do not assume that Aljunied, Hougang and Sengkang are in any way safe for the Workers' Party. There are never any safe seats for the opposition. Even Aljunied was nearly lost in 2015. The margin was a razor-thin 2%. Every single vote counts. So, make your vote count. The PAP is dominant and it always campaigns hard. Vote for the Workers' Party to create a more balanced political system. My fifth and final point is on Lawrence Wong's comment of, "Don't give a free pass to the opposition." He said voters should apply the same standards to the PAP and opposition candidates. So, reality check number 5. The PAP created the GRC system. Since 1988, GRCs have protected dozens of new PAP MPs. For this election, a few PAP candidates never worked the ground until recently. Voters do not know them, but voters are expected to vote for them just because they are in a GRC with an anchor minister. That is what I call a free pass. By saying what he did, PM Lawrence Wong was treating us voters like simpletons. But the last few elections have proven to the Workers' Party that Singaporean voters are savvy, thoughtful, and patriotic. Look at the percentages in previous elections. Singapore voters proved to be highly discerning and sophisticated. For example, better and more popular PAP candidates like Mr. Tharman, our president, got the highest percentages. When it came to the opposition parties, the range of different percentages depending on which opposition party you compare can be very significant. Voters of Singapore, the Workers' Party trusts your judgment. If you compare the current Workers' Party candidates to the PAP candidates, I believe you will agree that our batch of candidates is one of the best the Workers' Party has put up. And I would go one step further. The Workers' Party candidates offer all the PAP candidates do and more. These people behind me have come forward to run for the opposition, the Workers' Party. This proves that they are brave, they have guts, they have resilience. PAP candidates have nothing to lose when they run. Maybe they lose a little privacy, but what other risks do they take? Upon entering politics, PAP candidates and MPs certainly enhance their careers. In comparison, the Workers' Party candidates have little to gain and everything to lose. Actually, I should correct myself. It is not true that the Workers' Party candidates have nothing to gain. They do. By standing as Workers' Party candidates, they acquire the privilege of standing up for Singaporeans, for a more balanced political system, and being counted. My fellow Singaporeans, I trust that you are savvy, thoughtful, and patriotic voters. When you assess the collective potential of these Workers' Party candidates before you today in building a more balanced parliament, the choice is crystal clear. And most importantly, before you cast your vote in Aljunied, in Hougang, in Sengkang, in Jalan Kayu, Tampines Changkat, Tampines, East Coast and Punggol, remember this phrase. The Workers' Party are a force for good. So, on the 3rd of May, vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore. Thank you. Now, it gives me great pleasure and great honor to introduce someone up on the stage to join you. He was the former Member of Parliament for Hougang, former Member of Parliament for Aljunied, former Secretary General of the Workers' Party, Mr. Lau Tia Kiang. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the close of a very, very long election campaign that didn't just start 9 days ago. It started 5 years ago. And in the tradition of the Workers' Party, we always end the last rally with the pledge. So, without further ado, let me invite the candidate for Tampines GRC, Mr. Michael Teng, to lead us in the pledge.
We, the citizens of Singapore, pledge ourselves as one united people, regardless of race, language, or religion, to build a democratic society based on justice and equality, so as to achieve happiness, prosperity, and progress for our nation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please make your way home safely. Thank you for all your support this entire election. And remember, on May the 3rd, to vote the Workers' Party.
Cannot, we cannot. Okay. Thank you. Dear Singaporeans, thanks for your support. We have come to the end of the rally. Please make your way out of the stadium safely. Look out for anyone. Please do not push each other. Pick up the litter on the way out as well. We wish you a good evening. Thank you very much, Singapore. Thank you.